What is going on, guys? It is Daniel Wright, and you are here listening to another episode of Paving the Way. Guys, I'm happy to be back in front of you. I know I missed last week. I was out of town, out of the country on my 10-year wedding anniversary with Kelsey. We were over in Ireland for a week. It was a bucket list trip of ours, and we figured why not do it for our 10-year wedding anniversary, and we had a fantastic time. I was going to maybe try and do a podcast from Ireland, but I'll be completely honest with you. We were having such a good time. I woke up Wednesday morning and I realized, I don't have a podcast to post for these folks. So I said, well, they'll have to wait another week. And so what is it? Like distance makes the heart grow fonder. So you guys didn't get one last week. So hopefully you're more excited this week. But nonetheless, vacation is over, back in the grind, barreling through October right now, barreling through Q4 of 2026. And on today's topic, I want to talk about looking back to plan ahead, right? I know even earlier in the year, a lot of people are talking about, doing your 2026 planning about halfway through 2025. And that is all well and good. But right now, it's where the pedal meets the metal. It's where the rubber meets the road. All right. We are 2.5 months away from the start of 2026. So if you're not looking back over this past year and what you've been accomplishing, who you've been accomplishing with, and how things have been going, you are guaranteed to not be able to finish this year strong and start off the next year on the right foot. So we're going to talk a little bit about your team, looking at your margins and your money, and looking at your clients. So with that being said, let's get started. All right, guys. All right. Well, let's dive into the meat and potatoes of looking back to plan forward. All right. Like I said before, we're wanting to go ahead and take a little, 10,000 foot view and dive down into about 3,000 foot view of what's been going on in the business for the last year. Where does it line up with where we want to go next year and the future beyond that? And so, like I said, the three main categories that I'm wanting to talk about today that we are currently looking at in our organization as far as how we've performed this past year and where we want to go next year is our team, our money and our margins, and our clients. All right. So I've got these three categories that I kind of want to dive into a little bit, each individually on what I mean by those things. Okay. So we'll start with looking at our team. How has our team performed in 2025? You have to make sure that is your team performing and capable of performing at the levels and the direction and the quality and everything else that you need in order to hit your 2026 and beyond goals. All right. That's not just necessarily about productivity and efficiency. It's also about culture. It's about buy-in. It's about quality. It's about, are they willing to rise up and continue growing and progressing to the company and the organization that you're trying to build? Right? Because we've all heard the old saying, who got you here, or the people who got you here won't always get you there. And that can rub people the wrong way, right? Because some people think, wow, you have no loyalty to the people who got you here. Who are you just to throw them to the curb and think that they're replaceable just to find somebody better, right? That's not the case. Because at the end of the day, people are going to come into your organization that outgrow you. And you as the organization should and are likely going to outgrow some of the people. However, the sweet spot that you want to find is people bringing people into your organization that want to grow with you, okay? Because as a company grows, there's going to be new challenges that arise. There's going to be new requirements, new demands, whether it's from clients, from vendors, from teammates, from the marketplace, whatever it might be. There's going to be new demands that your business must be able to rise to the occasion and take those head on. That's not always going to be possible at the size of a $5 million company with 50 people on board. The same people who you had when you were a $500,000 company with 5 people on board, those people would freak the heck out as, trying to be in part of a 50-person company doing $5 million and all the things that are moving and how fast things are going, the velocity and so on and so forth. And so you have to make sure that the people that you have on your team are going in the same direction you're going as a company. And so it doesn't mean that you have to get rid of them. It might just mean that you have to add to the team, right? Because in an org chart, right, like from the top to bottom of the organization, you have different levels. And there may be a gap between, say, a middle management level and the frontline people in your organization. And so there may be a gap that you're looking to fill to help get you that next point. Well, if you don't have anybody on the front line of the organization that could be promoted up or wants to be promoted up, well, then you could go find somebody to bring into that position, right? We're a company that prefers to hire, to promote from within. When we have a new role, we like to try and hire and fill that role from somebody who's already been here. But that doesn't always mean that opportunity is there. That doesn't always mean that the people we have are the people we need. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that because people grow at different rates, different paces. They have different strengths and weaknesses. And as the company is growing and developing, it has needs that aren't always met by the people who are currently there. I can tell you, case in point, for one, we want to grow and build in our sales department. I'm currently the leader of our sales department. Do you know how much formal sales training that I've had in my life? Zero. I've had no formal sales training at all. It's all been through trial and error. It's all been through building businesses. It's all been through survival and just trying to make things work. And through that, learn what works and what doesn't. But if I want to grow my sales division in my organization, I have to be able and willing to attract, recruit, and retain somebody who can bring more value, more knowledge, more experience to the table than I have. Now, that doesn't always mean that they're this expert in selling pavement and concrete services. It could mean that maybe they come from, a parallel type of an industry, right? Like landscaping or HVAC or some other service-based industry that they understand how the sales process works. They understand how to mesh sales and operations or sales and production. They know how to work with clients and their buying cycles and the patterns and so on and so forth, and then be able to teach that to not just myself, but also the rest of our team who's in sales. Because if I want to grow that department, if I want to get it better, I have to be able to find people who are better at it than me. And so that's one of the areas that we're looking to grow, and we're evaluating the people we have on our team. Because like I said, the people who got us here aren't always the people who are going to get us there. And for us, where there is going to require experience. It's going to require knowledge. It's going to require time on the job that I cannot replicate, that I can't just make up, right? So to bridge that gap of me being the one with more time on the job or other people in our department having more time on the job, to bridge that gap, you pay for it. You hire it. Like I said, you attract, you recruit, and you retain it. So you have to basically decide whether or not you're going to invest, like I just said, and look to hire people with certain skill sets that you need, that you have areas in your company that you need to fill the voids, or are you going to adjust? Like I said earlier, are you going to promote from within? Are you going to realign team members into positions and areas to fill other needs that maybe are not currently being met? But one thing to really remember here, you do not want to promote or move someone out of a role unless you have their replacement. It's something I heard from John Maxwell recently on a clip that I was listening to for him. And he said it was a rule that he made in his organization that he would not promote anyone unless their replacement was trained. Because why on earth would I take someone who's very vital in the role that they currently fill, take them out of that, create a vacancy, put them into a higher role, but then now they're having to manage the higher role and what they were previously doing, or other people are having to pick up the load, whatever it might be, is not efficient. And so making sure that every role is filled as you're promoting people up is going to be to give you the opportunity to make sure that you're not having, creating voids and spaces in your organization or in your departments. So the next thing we're going to look at, and we're going to talk about, is reviewing your margins. Where are you making money? All right. Because every business has services or products that they sell and offer that make more money, better money, easier money, quicker money, more consistent money, whatever it is, all around better money than others. And so taking a look back at the services or products that you're offering and determining which are the ones that we even like to do. What are we set up to do well as an organization and as a team? And evaluating those, because more than likely you're going to find that the ones that you like to do, the services or the products that you sell, that your team is good at doing, that you enjoy doing, are probably going to be your most profitable. Okay. For us, I can tell you right now, it is projects in the pavement maintenance side of our industry that consist of seal coating, crack sealing, and restriping the pavement markings. A packaged together service like that is our most profitable. It's our most enjoyable. It's what we're most skilled at completing effectively and efficiently, not just for the clients, but for our team members alike. And so going back and evaluating, did we make money on these things? Did we become profitable? Are we healthy? Do we have good margins? Are we not overworking our people? Are we not overspending on supplies or materials? So looking at the actual health of your company, because I can tell you right now, and I'm guilty of this, specifically this year, because if I'm being transparent with you, we set some pretty lofty revenue goals for this year. And as of right now, our revenue goals are going to be coming up a fair amount short. However, our margins are coming in exactly where we wanted them to be. And there's a lot that goes into that, right? Becoming more efficient, being more, aware of time on the clock or materials that we're using, not wasting things, taking care of equipment better so we're not having breakdowns and repairs, things like that. But also, it's because we've been blessed with a year that people are wanting to buy more maintenance services for our business. And so we've had to really be able to gear up and provide those services throughout the year, which are higher margin services for us. And so the vanity metric, right, that everybody wants to talk about at all the expos and the conferences and the chat rooms online and the Facebook pages and whatever else they have their contests about, they want to talk about the vanity metrics of, how much revenue do you do? How much have you sold? What's your top line? And just how I can relate to, it's fun talking about those, right? Especially when you start hitting 6 figures for the first time, or 7 figures for the first time, or 8 figures for the first time. Those conversations are so fun and exciting to talk about. But then it gets real when you start scrolling down the P&L a little bit and you get to your gross profit line item. So after all of your job-related expenses, your operating-related expenses are taken out, well, how much money is left for all the overhead? And then as you scroll down that P&L and you say, okay, after we've paid our salaries, we paid our rent, our insurance, our phone bills, electric bills, our truck payments, our equipment payments, whatever it may be, how much money was actually left? No different than if you're a W-2 employee and you see that you have your top line, your gross income on your pay stub, and then after all the taxes get taken out, the withholdings, the contributions, whatever it may be, what you actually bring home and put in your pocket. No different than your P&L for your business. What's actually left at the end of it? Because guys, I've been a business that can sell multiple millions of dollars in revenue and have very little at the bottom line to show for it. And I've known and talked to many businesses that sell millions and millions of dollars on the top line and have very little to show for it. And so the actual health of your organization comes not from the vanity metrics at the top of the P&L of your income statement. It comes at the bottom. That's what's important. So if you can't look back at 2025 and show that the work that you've completed and the efforts that you've put out there and the jobs that you've done have created a profit to give stability and security for your organization, you've failed. So my advice to you would be, don't do the same thing next year. Pretty simple, right? But so many businesses go year after year after year of trying to grow that top line revenue and still not profit any money at the bottom. Well, unless you're a not-for-profit, which we're not, my company is not a hobby. I'm here to make money. I'm here to build something of value. I'm here to build something with security and stability through financial security and stability. For all the people that we get to work with and impact and influence, I'm here to build something of value. And so if I'm not building something that is profitable, well, then I should probably reclassify it as a 501c3 and make it a nonprofit. Would make sense, right? And so making sure that you look back at the year and look at the actual margins that your revenue brought in. Okay. And so the last point that I want to touch on is your clients, right? This is a fun one. And if you're any of my clients listening, well, I don't know. You might like this, you might not. But I'm going to tell you right now that there's probably a good chance that you can look back through your 2025 clients and you can find a good handful of them that you should probably fire. Yes, I've said it. You should fire clients on a regular basis. Okay. For us, a reason to fire a client is the first big one is core value misalignment. We have 6 core values that we operate at our company, and we don't expect everyone to have to operate by them. But if we're going to work together, we at least need to make sure that we have alignment on those, that we're dedicated to doing the right thing, that we're here to help people, that we're trying to do good, that we're willing to always learn and progress our knowledge and how things get done in our industry and our services and things like that. And so firing clients can also come from making sure that you're ones that, like I said on point 2 about profitability, there's some clients that want to bring you projects that you just don't make any money on. And so you're chasing your tail, you're dealing with the headaches, you're answering the constant questions, the phone calls, the emails, the text messages at all hours of the day to try and solve these problems, all to make no money. Instead, you create massive headaches. And so those clients that don't make you any money and cause you all your problems, I recommend getting rid of them. And it doesn't have to be vicious. It doesn't have to be rude. It just has to say, hey, I don't know that our companies are aligned, and I think that you might be best finding another contractor, or we may not be the best contractor or the best provider for you. That's okay. All right. Because I can tell you right now, and I put this on a recent LinkedIn post, it was a hot take about contractors, good contractors and vendors are able to go find new clients easier and faster than clients are able to go find good contractors and vendors. It's the truth, right? We work with hundreds of clients per year. Clients might work with dozens of vendors per year. The ratio's right there, right? And so when you're, as the contractor, as the vendor, as the provider, when you're evaluating your client base, you want to make sure that you identify those A clients, the people who value what you bring to the table. They pay on time. They trust your expertise. Those are the relationships that you want to double down on. And it's okay to prune that client list down to find the ones and to put effort and intentionality into the ones that align with where you're at and where you want to go. Because if you don't, the wrong clients will drain your time, they'll drain your margins, and they'll drain your energy, like I said before. You don't make any money and you get a whole lot of headaches. So you want to make space for the right ones before next year starts. And I can tell you that's something that I do regularly. I look through our invoices, our projects that we complete throughout the year. I'm like, that client, that was great. I want more work with them, and I want more clients like them. And then I look at other projects. I'm like, that one was a nightmare. And then ironically, if I go look at our P&L on that job, I'm going to see that, yep, we probably made very little margins and the money wasn't worth it. I would have been okay not doing that project. And so you have to be willing to analyze that to a point that what's going to be the best for my company and my organization to better take care of its team, to make healthy margins, and to serve the clients we're aligned with. Those are the decisions that you have to look at, that you have to make, right? Because if you keep people on the team that are anchors and that are dragging you down, you're not able to grow. When you're not able to grow, you cannot create more margin and more profit and more financial security and stability for your organization. And if you're not able to do that, then you can't continue to offer high class, high tier, high quality services to the class A clients that you want to work with. They all go together. And so if you don't take some time, it doesn't have to be this long, drawn out, big strategic thing with whiteboards everywhere and all sorts of crazy shit. It's just taking some time, some intentional time to evaluate what you've done and where you're at so far this year. And where does that align with where you plan to go next year? So that's my challenge for you guys going into this week. As we're wrapping up October here in the next week or so, what is it that you need to drill down on and do more of from this year? What team members, what projects, what clients, what do you need to drill down on? And what are ones that maybe you need to prune? Maybe you need to let them go. Another thing I heard recently was if you were to evaluate something in your business that you started doing at some point, and you ask yourself, would I do it again if I had the opportunity? This could be a service, a product that you offer, anything like that. And you ask yourself, would I do it again if I know what I know now? And the answer is no. Your next question should be, how fast can I get out of it? Or how fast can I stop offering this service or this product? Right? Because the more you prune that down, the more you create space for the good things to grow. It's no different than nature. We understand how that works. So the final wrap-up thought here that I'll leave you with, finishing strong isn't just about working harder. It's about getting clearer. Know your people, know your numbers, and know your clients. That clarity sets you up not just to close out the year right, but to dominate the next one. And guys, as you all know, that's what we're here to do on Paving the Way. We are here to build the life that we dream of, to pave the way to build that life for all the people that count on us, for ourselves, and for all those that we may not even know yet. Because I can tell you that's why I do this business. That's why I do this podcast. That's why I get in front of this camera, in front of this microphone, and talk to you guys about the experience and the lessons that I've learned, that I am learning, and that I hope to learn, so that way we can continue to make a bigger and bigger impact in and around our industry. Because, guys, I can tell you right now, and this is a little side rant that doesn't have anything to do with my topics today, our industry, okay, if you're listening to this and you're anywhere in and around the pavement and concrete industry, our industry is very, very sad. It's sad because of how many companies and contractors are out there that get away with taking advantage of clients, taking advantage of vendors, taking advantage of their team members, taking advantage of anything and everyone that they can possibly take advantage of. And nobody says or does anything about it. But I can tell you that our company here at Proline and my podcast here on Paving the Way is here to change that stigma. We're here to show and to prove that businesses in a dirty, nasty, smelly, hard, gritty industry can be people that actually care, can be teams that actually give a shit about doing good quality work, taking pride in what we do and who we are and what we stand for, and making sure that the people that we get the opportunity to serve know and feel that every time. That's what we're here to do. That's what we need more people like yourself watching and listening to this right now. We need more people like you to stand up, to show people who you are, what you're capable of, how much you care, how transparent you're willing to be on the work that you provide, the workplace and the environment that you provide to your team. How willing are you to put yourself out there? Because I can promise you, if you're doing anything less than good, right, you're not going to be willing to put yourself out there. If you're doing anything dishonest or untrustworthy, you're not going to be transparent like we are at our organization. But if you are doing the right things, if you are out there to serve and to help and to build and to inspire other individuals to build the life that they never thought possible, to work with a contractor that they can actually trust, to build relationships in the industry with your peers, your competitors, your vendors, whatever it might be. If you're out here to do and build that, I encourage you from the bottom of my heart to put your story out there, to show people who you are, what you do, what you're made of, and what you're capable of. Because this industry needs more of it. So guys, like I say all the time, check out our social media, check out our website, check out anything that you want to check out, because we are as transparent as we can possibly get. Are we perfect? No. But are we transparent? Are we honest? And are we dedicated to doing the best right thing that we know how to do? Abso-freaking-lutely. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in as always. I look forward to hitting up you guys next week. And as always, if you need anything, do not hesitate to reach out.